Okay, so you have probably bought some meat and or subscribed to our newsletter or blog or whatever it's called. So I'll introduce me. I'm Pete. I'm the farmer. I look after these lovely things. And so I will start from the beginning and briefly outline what I've done in the last 20 years and then tell you where I am now. So in 1992, I left school. I'm pretty much city bred, and I used to come down here to Naringla every holidays with my sister. And so we got to learn the ways of the bush. So horses, eeling, mustering cattle, drenching, making hay, feeding hay out, chipping burrs, all the usual stuff all other farm kids would know about, milking a cow, although we only had that for a little while. And that was that. And so I was always destined to be a farmer. And so I left in 92 to come down here, and it only took me a matter of weeks to realise that farming is probably the most boring and monotonous thing I've ever thought could ever exist. And so I got the hell out of here, actually, and I did a 6 months course in electronics because I have a wide range of interests in absolutely everything, from electronics to the natural environment, everything. So we went driving. I broke my arms. I went driving, all sorts of stuff. I had 236 cows and calves to look after. I was 20, had no idea. All I could do was ride a horse. I knew what grass looked like a little bit. And so, yeah, that was bizarre. And then in 1996, my last ditch attempt to be at all interested in agriculture, I went to Orange Ag College to do farm management degree. And there I came across Alan Savory's work, which was introduced to me by Jeff Nelson and our plants lecturer. And it was the basic idea that plants, if animals have constant access to a plant and it's palatable, it will graze the most palatable species out of existence. And that was all it took. And I was hooked. So I came back to implement it in 1997. And things didn't get any better. It all got worse. We did mob up. We went into a 90-day rotation and the cattle whizzed around fairly quickly. And all the same problems, even worse. We lost a lot of money. We had sheep at the time. We ended up selling those. It was awful. And Dad and I, all we did was fight. All I wanted to do was get rid of cattle so we could get some grass ahead of them. And so then I eventually left in 2006. We'd gone droving, all that, fed out hay, all sorts of stuff. Left in 2006 for Perth, spent 4 years over there, had a bloody fantastic time. And I then came back in 2011. Dad had not changed, it was still the same. I was going to leave again, sneak out in 2014. And then the day I was to leave, 6th of August, I was just going to go up to town. Dad said, "You're staying and I'm going." Dad had had enough. So he knew I wasn't coming back. I was going to leave farming forever. Anyway, so bewildered as I was, quite depressed, I sort of went through quite a few years of depression, insomnia. It was not great. But I had this idea. I wanted to fix the drought problem because I didn't think it was acceptable. And drought means that you're back to bed ground. It means a lot of hay and cost for farmers. And I knew there's no way. I knew it was a human problem. It can't be a weather problem. We have to take responsibility for it, no matter what. Whoever's problem it is, we have to take responsibility for it. So I had worked out over the years since Dad left, I extended the recovery from 90 days to 120 days. That didn't work. 180 days, that didn't work. 9 months, 270 days, that didn't work. It was working-ish until I got to 12 months recovery. And then I could see a huge body of grass. Way more than that, actually. This is okay. This is pretty light country here. But on average, out there, you can't walk through the stuff. It's actually really annoying. And so I'd achieved it quite a few times, but kept stuffing it up with taking on agistment cattle or just not selling at the right time, didn't have my finger on the pulse, and I didn't have a good plan. So I ended up, when the fires hit in 2020, I found myself back in the, back there again, back to stress, back to not knowing. But I'd trialled strips way up over there. I've got about 600 metre strips. And I could feed a lot of animals on a very small space. I'd be hurting the ground a fair bit, but I would be keeping the animals full and healthy. So I knew there was a big clue in strips, in lanes. So you just give them a little bit at a time. So then, and then when the fires hit, a year or so later, I wish I'd had the whole place covered in strips because I would have been absolutely fine and I would have been able to buy into a very cheap market. But I didn't. I knew to get serious and I knew to come up with a really good plan. And so I started stripping way over there, all the love grass. And basically at this point, I got half the place into these 100 metre strips and some are 50. And come on, girlies, you can do it. And so I'm now at the point where I am at 365-day recovery, and it is strict and planned out, and they get 2 hectares, between 1.8 and 2 hectares a day, depending on where they are. So at the moment, this is a 2 hectare paddock I've given them, and that means that this time next year, at whatever the date is, they'll be here again within a week. They'll be here again. And so this gets 364 days to receive rain and get at least back to that and further. So that is breaking the drought. For here, out west, it might need 2 years. But here, 365 days is enough. But so it's down over there, we had this blind cow. And I left the calf for dead. It was born up there. I don't know if you can see, but there's a green tank, and that's where it was born. And I left it for dead. I was going to come back and shoot it, but I couldn't. Look at this girl. Come on. She's old. Holy hell, she's old. She looks well for a very, very old cow. So this girl had 2 calves. She was 6 years old, and she was down there between Talaura and Naringla Creek, and she'd been there for 6 months, and she was the fattest, biggest cow in the district. And so we killed her. I shot her and we butchered and processed her, and there was Graham Hand, who's a holistic educator. Any farmers out there should get hold of him. He's probably the only one that knows what he's talking about. And there was my mum, my stepfather and I, and we cooked up the steaks from this cow, and I could not believe it. It was the most unbelievable flavour I've ever had. Fattiest, unbelievable. It was like this was what my body was craving for all its life. It was incredible. So, and I knew at that point, this is what I've actually got to offer to people. I've worked out the drought system. I know how to avoid drought. I know how to avoid bare ground. I know how to stop destroying the environment with too many cows, or how to manage them properly. And now I knew how to offer food environmentally, which no other food system can do. Everything else basically is cropping and killing wildlife, killing everything to put in a crop to feed us. Whereas this is fine. So they're there this time next year. All the opportunity for birds and lizards and everything to make their home will be fine. They will not have cows until this time next year. So whatever winter and spring and those sorts of animals will have the opportunity there. So I had it all clicked. The only thing was the marketing. I was selling stuff at Hague Park around June 2021, and around Christmas time I met Jamie and James. We're like-minded, into our health, into high quality protein and fats. They were looking for high quality meat. Here I have it. And I was after someone to help me market, because I did not have the time to sit in front of the computer and spend 8 hours trying to work out how to link this thing to that and payments and all that type of stuff. So we came up with a deal, and Jamie and James look after that side of things and help you guys and help me get the message to you guys on how good this food is and why you need it. And that's our story. So, welcome. I hope, ask us any questions, and I'll turn it around so you can look at me. Hopefully I'm in the picture. Ask any questions, and I hope you enjoy the meat, those that have bought it.